Congressman Gaetz, they pushed back on what Pat Cipollone said this morning when he said nobody was allowed in the SCIF, or he said congressmen weren't allowed in the SCIF. And then they went crazy saying, no, congressmen were allowed in the SCIF. Clear that up for us, because it was only House Intel members, correct?
Yeah, well, Mark and Lee were both there because they were on the select committees that allowed you access to the evidence. Remember, in the House Judiciary Committee, they had Corey Lewandowski as their maiden voyage for impeachment, but the boat never made it out of the harbor before sinking as a result of Lewandowski torching them in public hearings. So everything changed from Russia to Ukraine. In Russia, it was put out as much information as possible. When it came to the Ukraine, they had learned that lesson, that they looked more and more ridiculous the more the American people saw the evidence. So they tried to constrain it and hold it secret as long as humanly possible. But if you look at what we've learned today, it's been absolutely nothing. If you woke up today in a medically induced coma and you have only come to be awake as a consequence of the Ingram angle, you have missed absolutely nothing. No new evidence, no new information, and just more of the same.
I got so many emails. I don't know, you guys are probably getting them throughout the day. So many friends from across the country going, what's going on in Washington? That's what everyone keeps saying. What on earth is going on in Washington? Imagine if we had this many hours in a 24-hour period devoted to enforcing our border, devoted to ensuring that people who are in the country illegally and part of criminal gangs are summarily removed from the country. Imagine if they actually did their jobs.
Yeah, that would be a crime, though. Here, this is no crime, no victim. When people cross our border, that actually is a crime when they do so illegally.
But Congressman Zeldin, they keep saying, and we should just have a montage. We just throw it up every time we do this. Nobody's above the law. But wait a second. There are a lot of people who seem to be above the law in the Democrats' understanding. The Bidens. We haven't put on a case about the Bidens, real about the Bidens yet. The Bidens. People who are undocumented in the United States, they're not only above the law, you're going to give them health care, the Democrats are saying.
In New York State, they're actually in the process of passing a new law with automatic voter registration, and they just started a new law a few weeks ago where they're giving all legal immigrants driver's licenses.
Plenty of people are above the law. Now, is this, though, when you watch this, to the extent the American people are following it closely, which I doubt they're following it very closely, but if they are, do they see this as the Democrats' last-ditch effort to scuff up this president before 2020, before the Democrats in earnest pick their nominee?
What I'm hearing from people back home is that they're mad. They believe that Adam Schiff and his colleagues believe that they're more important than the voters that are going to show up in November. They said, how can 100 senators and 435 members in the House believe that their will is more important than the people's will? And they're not having it. They're not buying it.
There was a moment in the hearing today where Cipollone really personalized it. Congressman Gaetz, I want you to react to this, specifically focusing on this guy, Charlie Kupperman. Watch.
They withdrew the subpoena, they evaded a decision, and they're asking you to become complicit in that evasion of the courts. It's ridiculous. Obstruction for going to court? It's an act of patriotism to defend the constitutional rights of the president, because if they can do it to the president, they could do it to any of you, and they could do it to any American citizen.
So for Mr. Kupperman exerting his right, they want to punish him?
Last I checked, this is why we have courts. When there is a conflict between the branches, the reason we have people that wear black robes around is to resolve these disputes. But I've got to say, Pat Cipollone did a phenomenal job today, and I am here for the Pat Cipollone-Jay Sekulow dynamic. It is clear those two guys are a little competitive with one another, and we were getting the best of both of them. They were both phenomenal, and I think they got better as the day went on.